Hello, everyone, and welcome to the TB Percussion Studio's 2021 Student Recital. My name is Trevor Barroero, and I have the honor and privilege of teaching the numerous student musicians that you will see perform tonight. Now, for all my students and their families that are joining in right now, you can tell that I still haven't left this seat. It's been 1 year, and I'm still in the same room, sitting in front of the same computer screen, but we made it. So the semester is officially over, and I'm excited to celebrate the hard work of all my students tonight. I'm so proud of every single one of my students for continuing to find the motivation and passion for music amidst the chaos of online learning. Now, typically this spring recital serves two purposes. So the first purpose is to raise money for an equitable cause. So with so much going on in the world right now, there are many deserving charities to choose from. But for those of you that know me, you know that I have a personal commitment to assisting the Alzheimer's Association through my Memory Musicians project. So during tonight's event, I will be speaking briefly about our fundraising efforts if you feel so inclined to support the project. I'll also be placing a link in the chat as well. But of course, the second purpose of this annual recital is typically to celebrate our graduating seniors. So last year, for example, for 4 of my graduating seniors, we had to postpone the concert to September due to COVID. And all 4 of them actually now are majoring in music at major universities here in the state. 3 of them are at the University of Georgia. 1 of them is at Georgia Southern, and they just finished their freshman year, which is insane. But I was happy that we were able to do that, although it was postponed. But when I realized that this year's event would also be hosted online and not in person, and since I have students now in Georgia, Arizona, and Florida, I saw this as an opportunity to open up the performance to all of my students. So tonight we're joined by over 1 dozen of my percussion students as they perform pieces for snare drum, timpani, marimba, drum set, and more. And that being said, I do want to make sure that we still celebrate one of my graduating seniors. He'll be performing multiple pieces throughout the program tonight, and he'll be the one kicking off our program tonight as well. I met Caden down in Florida during my 1-year principal percussion position with the Orlando Philharmonic, and he is just an absolute rock star percussionist. He just graduated from Haggerty High School, but rather than continuing to talk and blab, I'm going to let him take over by performing this piece. And this is actually from their recent percussion ensemble performance at Haggerty High School. So this is Caden performing the solo xylophone part of Bob Becker's Girlfriends medley with his classmates at Haggerty High School. I hope you enjoy. Wow, bravo to Caden and all his colleagues down in Florida. The chat is blowing up right now. Hey, Caden, I see you there too in the chat. Absolutely fantastic. I mentioned that Caden graduated recently from Haggerty, but I should also mention that he was accepted with scholarships to every music program to which he applied, including, the San Francisco Conservatory, DePaul University, Florida State, University of Central Florida, Northern Iowa, Cleveland Institute of Music, University of Georgia, and he's decided to accept a scholarship offer from the Cleveland Institute of Music for next year, and he'll begin his Bachelor of Music there in the fall. We're all so proud of you, Caden, and that's not the last we're seeing of Caden for this program and then also just in the future, but he will be playing more later on in the program, so I'll rave about him a little bit more later on. Now, the next performance on our program is a special one. So during the last year of exclusively online teaching, I actually picked up some brand new students, which means that I have students right now that I've actually never met in person, including the next student performer. So Valor has only been studying with me for less than a year now. I've never worked with him one-on-one in person, but his progress these last few months has been incredible, and I've been blown away by all my students and their passion and their motivation for just continuing their work on their music education. So let's listen to Valor performing Rolling Caterpillars by Brian J. Harris. Great job, Valor, and really good snare drum rolls. It sounded awesome. Our next student is Harrison, and I actually recorded this video of Harrison this morning. This was the first in-person session I've had with a student, other than my steel band, but with a private student since the start of COVID. So this was special early this morning, and I was recording Harrison's tape for the Atlanta Youth Symphony audition. So this was a piece that we decided to include here on the recital as well. Harrison just graduated from 8th grade. He'll be starting high school. And this is Harrison performing Hochreiner's 49th Etude from Volume 1 of Etudes for Timpani by Richard Hochreiner. Great job, Harrison. Good lifting, too. That was just one of the pieces out of the snare drum and mallet pieces that he had to play for that audition, all back to back. So great job this morning on recording that piece on such short notice, too. Absolutely fantastic. I do want to take a quick second to thank all of you again for tuning in tonight. For those of you that are just now joining us, to support these students. I also want to acknowledge some of you that have actually already contributed to the fundraiser for the Alzheimer's Association. I created the Memory Musicians back in 2012 in loving memory of my grandmother. And she was a woman that helped raise me alongside my single mother. And she was one of my biggest supporters throughout my entire early music career. So this year I'm participating in the Alzheimer's Association's Longest Day event in June, which is a 16-hour event from sunrise to sunset to raise money for Alzheimer's research. And all the proceeds from tonight's concert will go to that fundraiser. And I'll have Holly drop the link in the chat for those of you that would like to contribute. It means the world to me, and the fact that some of you have already donated is so sweet. Next up, we have another fantastic performance. This was a blast to put together. Angelica was studying with me before COVID, but only recently we started to get into some more mallet stuff. And I should point out that lots of these students, you know, the decision to do this recital and open it up to all my students was pretty much a last minute decision. Within the last month or so, we decided to encourage other students in my studio to apply. And I know some students weren't able to get performances done, which is fine. But the fact that Angelica put this together pretty much in like a week. This was a really fun performance. Angelica is playing the main lead part of Sleeping Beauty, and then I'll be playing the marimba accompaniment parts with her. So this is Angelica performing Sleeping Beauty. Nice job, Angelica. That was such a blast to put together. And For those of you that have never done these virtual performances before either, it's tricky because you have to be, dead on with that metronome. You don't get to feed off the energy of other people. You don't get to adjust, and you just absolutely nailed it, Angelica. So fantastic job. Holly tried to drop the link, I guess, to the fundraiser, and it wasn't working in the chat. So I have it here. If you go to, let's see. Oh, that might be backwards. I'll fix that after. I'll do it after the next one. The next student we have up, let's see. Oh, we have another student that actually started with me during COVID era. So online learning. I've actually never met Mason in person, but once again, just excelled through both semesters playing snare drum, getting through the zoo book that I go through with my students by Brian Harris. And then also just going on to drum set as well. And Mason loves Minecraft. We've been doing a lot of Minecraft covers too. That's been fun with my students, is asking what kind of music they like and learning how to do that on drum set. But tonight, Mason is going to be performing Caterpillar Tiger Around the Drum Set, which is a piece that was my first solo on drum set. And it's exciting to see Mason play it as well. And this is by Brian Harris. Here's Caterpillar Tiger Around the Drums. I love that you dropped the sticks at the end, Mason, just from all that stamina that you expended drumming. All right, fantastic job. Just awesome. Mason just started playing drum set, gosh, only a few lessons ago, and the fact that you pulled that off was so cool. Fantastic job, Mason. I see all your friends are here rooting for you too in the chat. I see so many of my friends, colleagues, family members here as well, former students. I see Mr. Moser, I see you here too, my former fourth grade teacher who I owe so much to for a lot of things. It turns out, so my wonderful fiance is downstairs. She does the control center for us for these streams. And it turns out that the link was facing the right direction. So that was my mistake. So it is this link right here. It's act.alz as in Alzheimer's.org/go to Trevor B. So act.alz.org/go to/Trevor B. If you're watching here on YouTube, then it's right there in the chat if you want to contribute. Once again, thank you to everyone that has contributed so far. It's wonderful to see the fact that that we're able to contribute to these fundraisers for each of these concerts. There were so many worthy causes, once again, to choose from for this year. But I knew that this would be important. I've seen a lot of my own students that have now had relatives affected by this disease, and especially with COVID and the heightened restrictions with visitation and other concerns, it's just been such a challenge to see those that have been affected by Alzheimer's disease. And it's our hope that, through these small efforts that we can raise money, raise awareness about the disease, and then also raise money for research as well to hopefully find a cure. My next student up is Ben. Ben has been studying with me once again pre-COVID, and just recently also got into mallets as well. Ben has just been a wonderful student to work with, and it was a pleasure to get to do another virtual performance, even though we couldn't be in the same room together, to get a chance to actually do a duet. So many of you that have taken piano lessons have probably heard this piece before. When I took piano lessons, it was one of the first ones I learned. but it's much easier on piano actually in some ways than on marimba. So we split it into two parts. I'll be playing the accompaniment part, and then Ben is going to play the top, the right hand part of the J.S. Bach Menuet in G. Here we go. Here's Ben. Great job, Ben. Ben's touch on mallets has just gotten so great, especially now that he has that beautiful instrument there at home too, that Deegan marimba. And hopefully that's exciting for some of my younger students that are watching now too, that may just have the bell kits that, this is a nice next step to graduate to, and it's wonderful to just make such beautiful music together. So great job, Ben, on that performance of the Menuet. Next up, we're going to return to another performance by Caden. Now, this is the Lute Suite in E minor by J.S. Bach, and Caden's going to be performing the first two movements, which is the Prelude and the Presto. And it's important for me to point out that this piece shows up on professional auditions, not just university, undergraduate, graduate level auditions, but literally professional auditions. And Caden, you just tackled this piece so well. It's been so wonderful to hear you progress from this piece, from preparing it for college auditions, but then even just recently, Caden just re-recorded this specifically for this recital. So to hear the new musical ideas you've had was just wonderful. So here's Caden performing the Prelude and the Presto from the E minor Lute Suite by J.S. Bach. Great job, Caden. Bravo. Bravo. And I love seeing some of my younger students here too that, are getting a chance to witness what's possible, in those years, either in middle school or in high school as well, if you just practice. Really fantastic playing, great musicality all around. Next up, we have one of our few drum set performances, and the only drum set performance on this whole program that's actually with an accompaniment track too. So a lot of my students work on drum set. I mentioned Mason, playing with different songs on YouTube. And my next student, Jonah, has done that a lot. We've been doing that pretty much exclusively these last few months. The issue is because of copyright, obviously, we can't have Jonah jam out to some of the tunes that we've been playing along with recently. But this is another great alternative. This is one of the pieces from the Alfred drumming book that Jonah and I have been working through. Jonah has just grown to be such a fantastic drum set player, and this was a lot of fun to put together. And Jonah, props to you too for putting it back together so quickly. So this was a piece we did earlier on, and then I asked Jonah to work it back up, within a few days, and then he just laid it down. So this is Jonah performing Blues for Time. Great job, Jonah. Very good playing. So next up, we have another student that started with me during COVID. Once again, have never worked with Jonathan, our next student performer, never worked with him in person, but it's been such a pleasure, once again, to have the ability to work with students that I may not have otherwise had the ability to work with just here in Athens. So Jonathan learned how to pick up a stick, how to read percussion music, drum rolls, flams, all that stuff, just through Zoom. So the fact that Jonathan is now playing this piece from the Snare Drum Plays the Zoo book by Brian Harris called Roll 'em is just a phenomenal accomplishment, Jonathan. So you should be very proud. So here is Jonathan performing Roll 'em by Brian Harris. Nice, Jonathan. Very good playing. And once again, this is, how it's been for so many of us as percussionists is just access to instruments. And sometimes we have access to a mallet instrument at school, but then, maybe we went back to hybrid learning. And so lots of my students have gotten very good at just playing on a pad, which is such a wonderful skill to have because once you go back to the actual snare drum, the rebound is just more natural. So great job, Jonathan, on pulling off that performance of Roll 'em. Now, the next student I've been working with for a number of years, and I've basically watched him grow up from young elementary school to now he's a freshman in high school. And I met Campbell in Tucson. So he approached me. I had just soloed with the Tucson Symphony, and he and his mother approached me after I performed the concerto, the Emmanuel Sejourné Marimba Concerto, and they came up to the stage afterwards and asked if they could start taking lessons. And I had no idea that all these years later, with Campbell still being in Arizona, that I would still have the pleasure to work with him, see him grow up, mature, turn into just this wonderful musician, well-rounded musician. And Campbell's gone on to just win concerto competition after concerto competition in Tucson, and at a much earlier age than I was when I won my first competition. So just to see the work that you've done, Campbell, you should be very proud. Your family should be very proud of you as well. And Campbell made it into All-State this year in Arizona. So this is another year where I had, Caden was first chair All-State in Florida. We had one of my other students, Harrison, was first chair for the middle school here in Georgia for All-State. And then the fact that Campbell made All-State in Arizona. So we have this following going now in multiple states. It's awesome. So this is the most recent concerto that Campbell learned, and it's a concerto that I actually performed in high school, my senior year of high school. Campbell is a freshman playing the same piece, and this is a concertino by Richard Zalupe. This is the third movement from that concerto, and he's performing it with his accompanist from school that filled in at the very last second. So the fact that we were able to find someone to help play the Zalupe with Campbell, I'm very happy, that he was able to fill in. So this is the third movement of Richard Zalupe's Concertino for Marimba, and the cadenza, the solo cadenza for marimba that you'll be hearing was written by myself back in high school. So here's Campbell. I'll let you take it away. Fantastic, Campbell. Just one of the many concertos that you've tackled these last few years. Campbell performed the Mayuzumi Concertino. He did Fantasy on Japanese Woodprints. He did this here to the Zalupe, and just every single time, just blow me away with your musicality, technicality. It's fantastic. And once again, Campbell's only a freshman in high school, just finished his freshman year. So I can't wait to see where you end up in the next few years. Just really, really proud of you. We return once again to Caden. Caden's going to be performing a snare drum solo, and once again, this is a piece that he just wanted to learn for this recital specifically, so he put it together in the last week or so. A very complex piece. This is from Joe Tompkins' 9 French-American rudimental studies, and there are some complex upbeat rudiments, French rudiments in there, and Caden once again just absolutely killed it. Just fantastic playing. So this is Etude number 4 from the first volume of Joe Tompkins' 9 French-American rudimental studies. Here it is. Nice job, Caden. Congrats on, especially on putting that piece together, so quickly. I'm looking forward to this summer getting to tackle some more of those and some other exciting rep. And Caden is probably going to be putting on a senior recital sometime this summer. So if you're on my listserv, you will probably be getting an email blast about that, or you can go to my website, tbpercussion.com, and join that newsletter mailing list. I'll be sending out all that information. This is just so much fun, too, to do this live event. These are always stressful because I never know if the technology is going to work out. But tonight it seems like it's working pretty well. And it's just so awesome seeing the chat and seeing all my students being so supportive of one another. And it's important for all of you to remember that you all come from the same lineage of play. All these, teachers and grand teachers that I learned from, that my teachers learned from. And you all have access to these resources as well. And it's exciting for you to get to see someone that's a little bit older than yourself and realize that that can absolutely be you in the future, and that you'll achieve things that maybe they didn't even dream of. I mean, I see my students, Barbara pointed out that, Campbell played the same piece that I played, and he's playing it completely differently and way more musically than I ever did. So it's, the art form just keeps evolving. It's just important that we're supportive of one another and help lift each other up. That's what it comes down to always. So it looks like we're over 70% of the way to our goal for this fundraiser, which is so exciting. Once again, a heartfelt thanks to all of you that have donated. The link is right here, act.alz.org/go-to/Trevor B. Anything helps. Will be on June 20th of this summer. I'll be participating officially in the Alzheimer's Association's longest day. So during that day, that's when we'll do the 16-hour stream. I'm recruiting many of my artistic colleagues to contribute pieces and performances to that live stream. And I'm looking forward to a day full of wonderful art and live stream discussions. So you can mark your calendar. That's June 20th. We'll be right here on YouTube Live all day. Those of you that are my colleagues, I see some of you in here, Porter and Alyssa, Mario, I see you in here too. If any of you want to participate too and contribute some pre-recorded performances or just sit and have a discussion, I would love that. So that's going down on June 20th. But for now, if you can contribute, we appreciate it. And it's always wonderful with these recitals to see, what an impact we can make when we bring together our studio families. So next up, we have another very special student, Austin. I inherited Austin as a student from my very dear friend Nate Lee, who's been a great role model, great friend for me. And Austin was studying with Nate. Nate moved, got a new position, and I have the privilege of teaching Austin now. I've been working with him for a few years now. And Austin, to see your growth over the last year or so has just been phenomenal. And now we're finally, Austin marches at his high school at Mill Creek and, plays four-mallet marimba, but hasn't really had the chance to do many solos on four-mallet marimba. So this was a new experience for us, tackling Mitchell Peters' Yellow After the Rain for four-mallet marimba. So here is Austin. Great job, Austin, for tackling that first big four-mallet marimba solo for yourself. That's great. And I'm having a lot of fun now working on the Smadbeck etude with you, and I'm excited to continue to work on that this summer. Once again, thank you to everyone in the chat. I see you all. I see all of you that have donated to the Longest Day event as well. Just thank you. Thank you so much. We absolutely appreciate you. Next up, she has been very patient, and I see you in the chat, Lucille. I know how patient you've been, so I guess it's about time that we should let you go now. Lucille was studying with me pre-COVID. she can do it all. She worked her way through the entire zoo book, which is a book that, was taught to me by my teacher, Brian Harris, my first teacher of 8 years. I went through that book. All my students go through that same book, and Lucille just flew through that book. We went right to drum set. She picked that up super quick, and she plays cajon as well. Now we're finally getting to mallets, just an extremely well-rounded drummer and percussionist. And this is the only piece on tonight's recital that was written by the performer. So this is the premiere of a new work that Lucille wrote herself called Squicks, and she performed every part of the piece. So here we go. This is the world premiere of Squicks by Lucille. Yeah, it's very good, Lucille. An awesome piece. Hopefully we get to, expand that even further. We get to try some new composing. That's something that's really important for me, for all my students. All my students compose through the zoo book, and then also as they, graduate from that book, I always encourage them to continue composing, because who better to write for our instrument than the ones that actually play it themselves. So great job, Lucille. Awesome job playing Squicks, covering the shaker part, cajon part, and bell part. That's awesome. Next up, we have another one of my high schoolers. Dylan was studying with me pre-COVID as well. And then we made this switch to online learning, and we finally got to dive into some more mallet percussion as well. This is Dylan's first big two mallet solo that we've actually tackled together, other than, all state and district stuff. Dylan did make it into district this year too, which was exciting. And this is a piece that he and I performed together virtually. So this is Animal Cracker Rag, which is just such a fun, hilarious piece. And Dylan is playing the xylophone part, and I'm playing what's normally the piano accompaniment, but put it on marimba. And this is by Brian Slauson, a great percussionist down in Florida. So here's Dylan playing the xylo part to Animal Cracker Rag. Once again, another fantastic performance by a student that, put together a piece in basically a week. So Dylan just knocked it out of the park. Such a blast to play that piece too. And I hope all of my students that are performing right now are able to see the chat and just how, supportive everyone is and how much joy our art form brings to others. I think that we question a lot, especially during this period of COVID. Looks like it might have disconnected. There we go. Okay, we're back. Yeah, there's, all these opportunities where we have a chance to make a difference to others and to entertain, but also to move others, to inspire others, and just keep doing what you're doing and believing in the art form, because it really is a fantastic thing. So great job, Dylan. Great job to all the students so far. We're nearing the end of the recital here. I appreciate all of you sticking around, all my students, to check out and support, their colleagues here in the TB Percussion Studio. That means a lot to each other. And our next percussionist has been extremely patient. He is the 15th performance of the evening. Once again, another student that I acquired during COVID. So I haven't actually worked with Bruce one-on-one yet, but it's been great doing our online lessons so far. Bruce is making his way through the Zoo book. He's already playing a lot of drum set too in lessons. So this is another piece from Brian Harris's Snare Drum Plays the Zoo book. And this is a complex piece called 6/8 is Great. So for those of you that are my students or those of you that are musicians, that is how you do dynamics. So for any of my students that are wondering when I harp on them about exaggerating our dynamic contrast, Bruce has mastered that over the last several months. So great job, Bruce. Wonderful job playing 6/8 is Great by Brian Harris. And then I can't wait to keep diving into some more drum set stuff with you as well through the summer. So we're nearing the end of the recital here. We do have another performance by our very own Caden. This is the Courant from the Bach Cello Suite number 1. And before we do that, I do want to say that we've now passed the 80% mark for our goal for the longest day. I'll put that link right here again. Oh my gosh, 90%. So we are less than $100 away from our goal, which is absolutely incredible. Here's the link again, act.alz.org/go-to/my-name, Trevor B. So without further ado, let's jump over to Caden playing the Courant from Bach's First Cello Suite. Incredible. It's that's another piece. Caden, I asked him what he wanted to play for the recital today, and he said, "Oh, I think I'm going to learn the Courant from the First Cello Suite." And just, learned it in a couple days. And just, I'm just so inspired by all of my students, from the youngest to the oldest students I teach. All of you inspire me. You just make me love what I do from a day-to-day basis of teaching all of you, getting to learn from you as well. So I want to take a second to congratulate each and every one of you, our students that performed tonight. Thank you for your resiliency through this past year and your virtual drum lessons. I know it's not the same as in person, and I know that this has been a difficult year for everyone. And I acknowledge and appreciate the sacrifices that everyone's family made to ensure the continuation of musical instruction despite the challenges of a global pandemic in our midst. So as much as I've missed in-person teaching, the students this year have made me so happy to step into the same room, step into the same, seat, sit down here and just, log into Zoom and do what I do day in and day out. But I just love it. I love working with all of you. You inspire me. And I want to give a special thank you also to all my friends, family, and supporters that are tuning in tonight as well. Much love to all of you as we approach what I hope to be a brighter season, moving into the summer, and hopefully we can begin seeing each other once again. That was all the performances for tonight, 16 performances by many of the members of our studio. I know that we didn't get a chance to, for all my students to perform. The end of the semester was crazy for everyone, but I hope that if people enjoyed this, then please let us know in the chat, and we'd love to know, because I would be happy to do this for our students again, either virtually or doing an in-person recital. But thank you again. Thank you to everyone that helped with our fundraising goal. My second monitor just went out, so I don't actually know if we made it, but I think we might have, because we were very, very close to making it before. So thank you, everyone that has tuned in. Thank you to all the student performers, to their families for supporting them. And I hope to see you on June 20th. So mark your calendar. I'll be right back here in my famous chair in this famous room, just doing my thing. And hopefully we'll begin making that transition to in-person lessons soon. And now that the semester's over, I'm looking forward to doing some summer lessons with all of my students. So take care, everyone. You know where to find me, tbpercussion.com. Reach out if you want to chat. But great job. Fantastic job to all our students. So proud of all of you.